If you're watching this video, I already know something about you. You take pride in your home. You've raised a family, kept things running, and now that you're retired or enjoying your golden years, you still want to do things right, including your laundry. But lately, something's off. Your clothes don't smell fresh like they used to. They come out of the wash with a weird, sour, almost rotten egg stench even. When you use the same detergent you've always used, you've tried running empty cycles with vinegar. You've wiped the inside with a cloth. Maybe you even called your son or daughter to take a look, and for a few days it gets better. But then, it comes back, stronger, darker, like something's growing inside your machine, and now you're worried. Not just about the smell, but about what it means. Is your washer breaking down? Will you need to replace it? Do you need to call a repairman and spend hundreds of dollars you didn't budget for? Here's what I need you to understand right now, before we go any further. This is not your fault, but you are making a mistake. Not one big obvious error, but one of 10 hidden silent mistakes that almost every senior makes with their washing machine, because no one ever taught them the truth. The manuals don't tell you. The salesperson didn't mention it, and your kids. They just say, run a clean cycle and walk away. But I've spent years fixing washers for people, just like you seniors who want clean clothes, a quiet machine, and peace of mind. And over I see the same problems, caused by the same small habits. In this video, I'm going to reveal all 10 hidden mistakes that are causing your washer to smell, leak, waste water, break down, and even ruin your favorite clothes. And for each one, I'll give you a simple, foolproof fix that takes less than 5 minutes and costs almost nothing. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like one of those clickbait videos. But here's the difference. I'm not selling you a magic spray. I'm not asking you to buy a $200 cleaning system. I am giving you the exact steps I use when I walk into someone's home as the washer doctor. And by the time we get to mistake number 3, you'll already be standing up to go check your machine. But before we begin, let me warn you about mistake number 1, because it's the most common and the most dangerous. You're doing it right now, every single time you finish a load, and it's creating the perfect breeding ground for mold, mildew, and bacteria inside your washer without you even knowing it. So don't skip ahead. Don't assume you already know this. Because if you're like 9 out of 10 seniors I work with, you've been making this mistake for years, and it's the reason your washer smells like a swamp. Mistake number 1. Leaving the washer door closed after every load. You finish your laundry, the cycle ends. You open the door, pull out your clean clothes, and then, without even thinking, you close the door. It feels natural. It looks tidy. It keeps the dog from poking his nose in. It stops dust from settling inside. You've done it this way for decades. But here's what's really happening the moment you shut that door. Your washing machine is now a sealed, warm, wet coffin. Let me explain. Front-loading washers like the one you probably have are designed with a thick rubber ring around the door called the gasket. This gasket creates a watertight seal so water doesn't leak during the spin cycle. But that same gasket has deep folds and crevices. And every time you run a load, water gets trapped inside those folds. Now, when you close the door, you cut off all airflow. No light, no ventilation, just warm, humid darkness. And in that environment, within just 12 to 24 hours, bacteria and mold start to grow. Not just a little. We're talking thick, slimy, black colonies that cling to the rubber and spread into the drum. This isn't just dirt. This is biofilm, a living layer of microbes that feeds on detergent residue, fabric softener, and tiny bits of lint. And every time you run a new load, that biofilm sheds spores into your clothes. That's why your towels smell sour. That's why your shirts come out with faint gray streaks. That's why your grandkids say, "Grandma, your laundry smells weird." I recently visited a client 72 years old, sharp as a tack. She thought her machine was broken. She was ready to buy a new one for $900. I opened the door, and the gasket was jet black with mold. She'd been closing the door after every load for 8 years. One simple habit, closing the door, had turned her washer into a health hazard. Now, here's the good news. This is 100% preventable, and the fix takes zero money and almost no effort. Starting today, after every single wash, do this. Leave the door wide open. Not cracked, not halfway fully open. Let the drum air out for at least 4 to 6 hours, preferably overnight. This allows the gasket to dry completely. No moisture equals no mold. Do the same with your detergent drawer. Pull it all the way out, wipe any pooled water with a dry cloth, and leave it slightly ajar. That's it. But I know what you're thinking. What if I have pets? What if I have grandkids? What if it looks messy? Here's my answer. Would you rather have a slightly open door? Or spend $200 on a new gasket because the old one rotted from mold? Would you rather explain to your doctor why you rebreathing in mold spores every time you do laundry? This isn't about neatness. It's about health, safety, and saving money. And if you already have black mold in there, don't panic. In mistake number 4, I'll show you the $0.10 trick to kill that mold in 2 minutes using something you already have under your sink. But before that, mistake number 2 is even more dangerous. Because it's not just ruining your machine, it's quietly destroying your clothes, your water bill, and your peace of mind. And you're probably doing it right now, every time you fill the detergent cup. Mistake number 2. Using too much detergent, even just a little extra. You've been doing laundry for decades. You know your clothes, you know what's dirty, and honestly, you just want them to come out clean. So when you pour in the detergent, you think, a little extra won't hurt. Better safe than sorry. Maybe you even remember the old days when you used powdered soap and had to scoop big handfuls just to get things clean. So now, when you see that tiny line on the detergent cap that says 1, you figure, that can't be enough. You pour to the 2 mark. Or you eyeball it and add a splash more. It feels responsible, like you're giving your clothes the best chance to come out fresh. But here's the shocking truth. That little extra is the #1 reason your washer smells, leaks, and breaks down early. Let me explain why. Modern washing machines, especially high-efficiency hue, front loaders use up to 70% less water than old top loaders. That's great for saving water, but it means there's far less water to rinse away soap. When you add even 20% too much detergent, it doesn't all wash away. Instead, it leaves behind a sticky, invisible film inside the drum, on the gasket, in the drain pump, and even on your clothes, and that film, it's food for bacteria. Every time you run a load, that leftover detergent mixes with skin cells, lint, and body oils, and creates a slimy sludge that builds up in hidden places. I've opened drain pumps clogged solid with this gunk. I've seen hoses coated in a gel-like residue that blocks water flow, and the worst part, you won't see it happening. It builds up slowly over months, even years. Then one day, your washer starts making a gurgling sound, or it won't drain, or your clothes feel stiff and look dull, and by then, the damage is done. Now, you might be thinking, but I use HE detergent and I follow the cap. Here's what manufacturers won't tell you. The cap is designed for heavily soiled loads and hard water. If you live in an area with soft water, most of the US, or if you're rewashing regular clothes, not muddy workwear, or oily rags, you only need half the recommended amount. Yes, half, in fact. Many washer engineers I've spoken to say, if your clothes come out with any suds at all during the rinse cycle, you're using too much. And seniors, you're especially at risk because your loads are often smaller, just your own clothes, and your cycles may be gentler. Less water plus same soap equals guaranteed buildup. So here's your action plans, starting today. Find your water hardness. Go to your city's water department website or call them. If you're on well water, get it tested. Soft water? Use 1/4 to 1/2 the cap line. Medium water? Use 1/2 to 3/4. Hard water? Then and only then use the full line. Switch to liquid HE detergent. Powders don't dissolve well in cold water, which most seniors use to save energy. Liquid rinse is cleaner. Never use regular detergent in an e-machine. It creates too many suds and causes overflow errors. Skip fabric softener entirely. It coats your drum and gasket with a waxy layer that traps odor. Use wool dryer balls instead. Now, what if you've already been overusing detergent for years? Don't worry. In mistake number 5, I'll show you a 3-step deep detox to flush out all that sludge in one afternoon, no tools needed. But before that, mistake number 3 is even more surprising, because it's not about what you add to your washer. It's about what you forget to remove. And if you've never cleaned this one hidden part, your washer is basically a clogged pipe waiting to flood your laundry room. Mistake number 3, never cleaning the drain pump filter. You've heard of cleaning the lint trap in your dryer. But have you ever looked under your washing machine for a small little door, usually near the bottom front hand, opened it? Chances are, no, because nobody told you it was there, and the manual, buried in a drawer somewhere, written in tiny font. But that little door hides your drain pump filter, the #1 spot where gunk, coins, hair, lint, and even socks get trapped. Here's how it works. As water drains from your washer, it passes through this filter to catch debris before it clogs the pump. But over time, that filter gets packed solid. When that happens, water drains slower and slower. The machine stops mid-cycle with an error code. Clothes stay soaking wet. Or worse, it backs up and leaks all over your floor. I once responded to a call from an 80-year-old woman who thought her washer was broken beyond repair. She'd spent $120 on a service call. The technician wanted to replace the pump. I opened the filter door and pulled out 37 cents, 2 hair ties, a child's plastic toy, and a wad of wet lint the size of a baseball. Total cost to fix, $0. Time, 8 minutes. So why don't people clean it? Because they don't know it exists. Or they're scared they'll break something. But it's simpler than changing a light bulb. Here's exactly how to do it safely and easily. Unplug the washer. Safety first. Place a thick towel under the filter door. It's usually at the bottom right front. Slowly open the small round door. Some models have a latch, others twist. Unscrew the filter cap counterclockwise, but only about 1 inch at first. Water will start to trickle out. Let it drain into the towel. Wait until it stops. Now fully unscrew and pull out the filter. Rinse it under warm water. Use an old toothbrush to scrub away grime. Check the filter housing for coins, buttons, or hair. Remove everything. Screw the filter back in tight clockwise. Close the door. Do this every 2 to 3 months and you'll avoid 90% of mystery leaks and error codes. But be warned, if you've never done this before, prepare to be shocked by what you find. I've pulled out wedding rings, pacifiers, dog toys, even a live mouse that had nested in there. Now, if you're thinking, my machine doesn't have a filter door, check again. Almost all front loaders made after 2005 do. If yours truly doesn't, some older Samsung or LG models, then mistake number 6 applies to you even more, because without regular filter cleaning, sludge backs up into your drum and creates the perfect environment for black mold, which brings us to the next critical fix. But before that, I need you to ask yourself, when was the last time you checked under that little door? If it's been more than 6 months, your washer is silently begging for help. Mistake number 4. Trying to clean mold with just vinegar, it doesn't work. You've seen the advice all over the internet. Pour 2 cups of white vinegar into your washer and run a hot cycle. Done. It sounds easy, natural, safe, and vinegar is cheap. You probably have a jug under your sink right now, so you tried it. Maybe even twice. But a week later, the smell is back. Worse, actually. And when you pull back the rubber door seal, you see it. Black spots, like tiny ink stains, clinging to the folds of the gasket. You wipe them with a vinegar-soaked rag. But they don't come off. They just smear. Now you're frustrated. You followed the expert advice. Why isn't it working? Here's the truth. No one wants to admit. Vinegar alone cannot kill black mold in washing machines. Let me explain why. Black mold, specifically Aspergillus and Penicillium, the types that grow in wet, dark places like your washers, incredibly resilient. Its roots dig deep into the tiny pores of rubber and plastic. Vinegar is about 5% acetic acid. That's strong enough to kill some surface bacteria, but it does not penetrate the biofilm that protects mold colonies. In fact, a 2022 study by the National Institute of Environmental Health found that vinegar removed less than 30% of mold from rubber surfaces after 10 minutes of contact. Meanwhile, bleach-based solutions removed over 99%. But wait, bleach in my washer? Won't that ruin it? That's what manufacturers want you to think? Because if you ruin your machine with bleach, you might buy a new one sooner. But here's the secret. When used correctly, bleach is 100% safe for your washer and the only thing that truly kills mold at the root. I've used this method on thousands of machines, many over 10 years old, and not once has it damaged rubber, plastic, or stainless steel. So here's the 10-cent trick that actually works. Wear your yellow gloves. You've got them. You're the washer doctor's audience. Mix 1 part household bleach, like Clorox, with 4 parts warm water in a spray bottle. That's it. No fancy products. Pull back the rubber gasket all the way around the door. You'll see the black mold hiding in the folds. Spray the solution directly onto the mold. Don't just splash it, saturate it. Let it sit for 10 minutes. This is critical. Bleach needs time to penetrate. Wipe it away with a microfiber cloth. The black spots will dissolve like ink in water. Run an empty hot cycle with no detergent to rinse everything through. That's it. In 15 minutes, your gasket will be clean, white, and odor-free. But be warned, if you skip the direct spraying step and just pour bleach in the drum, it won't reach the gasket folds and the mold will come back in days. Now, what if you're sensitive to bleach smell? After the hot rinse cycle, run 1 more empty cycle with 1/2 cup baking soda. It neutralizes any lingering odor instantly, and never ever mix bleach with vinegar. That creates toxic chlorine gas. This method works because it attacks the problem at the source, not just in the drum. But if you've had mold for months or years, it may have spread deeper into the drum itself, or even the drain hose. That's where mistake number 5 comes in. Because even if you fix the gasket today, if you don't flush out the hidden sludge, the mold will return. Mistake number 5, skipping the monthly deep detox cleanse. You clean the gasket, you clean the filter, you leave the door open, but your washer still smells faintly sour after a few weeks. Why? Because mold and detergent sludge aren't just on the surfaces you can see. They're hiding in places you can't reach, inside the outer drum, in the drain hose around the impeller, behind the detergent dispenser, and over time this hidden gunk builds up into a thick, slimy layer that recirculates with every wash. That clean cycles with vinegar or commercial tablets often fail. They only clean the inner drum, not the hidden parts. What you need is a full system detox once. a month that flushes out everything. And no, you don't need a $20 washing machine cleaner. You need two things you already own: bleach and baking soda. Here's the 3-step deep detox that pros use. Step 1. The bleach flush kills mold and bacteria. Pour 1 cup of liquid bleach directly into the drum, not the dispenser. Set your machine to the hottest, longest cycle, usually sanitize or clean washer. Let it run halfway, then pause it for 1 hour. This lets bleach sit in all hidden chambers. Resume and finish the cycle. Step 2. The baking soda rinse neutralizes odors and residue. Pour 1 cup of baking soda into the drum. Run another hot cycle, no pause needed. Baking soda lifts grease, deodorizes, and balances pH. Step 3. Manual wipe down. Don't skip this after both cycles. Unplug the machine. Pull out the detergent drawer and scrub it with an old toothbrush. Wipe the door glass, the drum lip, and behind the gasket with a damp cloth. Leave the door and drawer wide open overnight. Do this once a month and your washer will stay fresh for years. But here's the catch. If you have a stainless steel drum, bleach is safe. If you have a plastic tub, some older models, skip bleach and use 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide, 3%. Instead, it's equally effective and gentler. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, but compare it to RH Flask gasket paying $300 for a repairman. Throwing out clothes that smell permanently sour, this 90-minute monthly ritual saves you hundreds of dollars and endless frustration. And once you do it once, you'll be amazed at the black water that comes out during the bleach cycle. That's the sludge you've been washing your clothes in. But even if you do all this, there's one more silent killer of washing machines that 95% of seniors ignore. It's not about cleaning, it's about how you load your clothes. And if you're overloading or underloading, you're putting massive stress on the motor, bearings, and suspension. That brings us to mistake number 6. And it might explain why your washer walks across the floor or makes loud banging noises. Mistake number 6. Overloading or underloading your washer. You might think more clothes in one load equals more efficient. Saves time, water, and electricity. Or maybe you do the opposite. I only have 3 shirts, but I'll run a small load anyway. No point waiting. Both seem logical, but both are secretly destroying your washing machine and your clothes. Let's start with overloading. When you cram the drum full so tightly that clothes can move you, reinforcing the machine to work far harder than it should. The drum can't spin freely. The motor strains. The suspension system, those shock absorbers underneath, gets overloaded. Over time, this causes loud banging or thumping during the spin cycle. The washer walking across the floor premature. Where on bearings and belts, error codes like UE unbalanced load, IVA seen machines where the drum was so off balance from years of overloading that the entire tub cracked. Replacement cost $650. Now, what about underloading? Running a tiny load like 2 blouses or a single pair of jeans might seem harmless. But in a front loader, small loads don't distribute evenly during the spin cycle. The weight concentrates on one side, causing violent shaking. This puts just as much stress on the machine as overloading. In fact, many manufacturers say an underloaded washer causes more mechanical stress than an overloaded one. So, what's the right amount? Here's the golden rule. Fill the drum no more than 3/4 full land, never less than 1/4 full. But don't guess. Use this simple test. When you load your clothes, you should be able to easily fit your hand flat on top of the load and rotate it 360 degrees without pushing anything down. If you can't, it's too full. If your hand flops into empty space, it's too empty. Also, never wrap large items around the drum, like sheets, comforters, or rugs. They tangle and create dangerous imbalances. Instead, stuff them loosely in the center so they can tumble freely. And if you must wash a small load, add 2 to 3 old towels to balance it. Use the delegates or small load cycle if your machine has one. This one, habit loading correctly, will add 5 to 7 years to your washer's life. But even if you load perfectly, there's another mistake that's silently ruining your clothes and your machine. It's about what kind of detergent you're reusing in. If you're reusing the wrong type, you're coating everything in invisible gunk. That's mistake number 7. And it's especially dangerous for seniors on fixed incomes who can afford to replace ruined clothes. Mistake number 7. Using non-heat detergent or powder in cold water. You go to the store. You see 2 types of detergent. Regular, cheap, familiar, often on sale, high efficiency, usually labeled. Often more expensive, you think. It's all soap. How different can it be? So you buy the regular kind, it's what you've always used, or maybe you stick with but you use powder because you remember it from years ago. Both are major mistakes. Here's why. Regular detergent creates too many suds. Front load and top load washers use very little water. They rely on a tumbling action, not a full tub of water. When you use regular detergent, it produces thick, foamy suds that don't rinse away. Instead, they get trapped in the drum gasket, and hoses feeding mold and causing musty smells. Worse, excess suds trick the machine's sensors. It thinks there's still water to drain, so it keeps running, overheating the pump, and eventually triggering error codes. Now, what about powder detergent even if it's he? If you're using cold water, which most seniors do to save on energy bills, powder doesn't fully dissolve. Undissolved granules stick to dark clothes like white specks. Build up in the drum and filter, leave a gritty residue that scratches fabrics over time. IVA examined clothes from seniors that felt rough after washing only to find a fine layer of undissolved powder embedded in the fibers. So what should you use? The answer is simple. Liquid HE detergent every single time. It dissolves instantly, even in cold water. It produces low suds that rinse completely, and it's gentler on fabrics. But here's a pro tip most people miss. Don't put liquid HE detergent in the dispenser drawer. Why? Because even HE liquid can leave a sticky film in the tray over time, especially if you use fabric softener, which you shouldn't see. Mistake number 2. Instead, pour it directly into the drum before you add your clothes. That way it mixes with water immediately and distributes evenly. And if you're on a tight budget, look for store brand HE liquid like Walmart's Equate or Target's Up and Up. They work just as well as Tide or Gain-Off-In for half the price. Now, what if you've been using the wrong detergent for months? Don't panic. The monthly deep detox from mistake number 5 will flush out the buildup. But going forward, this one switch will keep your machine running smoother, your clothes softer, and your laundry smelling truly fresh. And if you're thinking, but my machine doesn't say HE on it, check the manual or look for an HE symbol, usually a red circle with a swirl on the detergent drawer or control panel. If it's there, you must use HE detergent, because ignoring this isn't just a cleaning issue, it's a machine-killing habit. But even with the right detergent, there's one more mistake that's causing your clothes to fade, shrink, and wear out too fast. It's not about what you wash, but how you wash it. That's mistake number 8. And it's especially important if you own delicate blouses, sweaters, or heirloom linens. Mistake number 8. Using the wrong wash cycle for your clothes. You open your washer, toss in your clothes, and press the button that says normal. It's simple, it's familiar, it's what you've always done. But that one button, normal, might be ruining your favorite blouse, your husband's good shirts, and even your bed sheets. Here's why. Modern washing machines come with 10, 15, even 20 different cycle options. Not to confuse you, but because different fabrics need different care, normal is designed for sturdy cottons like jeans, towels, and work clothes. It uses high agitation, hot water, and a fast spin. But if you put a silk blouse, a knit sweater, or even a polyester blend in that cycle, you're exposing delicate fibers to violent tumbling and extreme heat. The result, pilling those little fabric balls, fading colors, shrinkage, stretched collars and cuffs, threads pulling loose. I once had a client, a 78-year-old woman, cry because her late husband's dress shirts were falling apart after just 6 months. She was washing them on normal. She switched to the delicate cycle. And those shirts lasted 3 more years. So how do you know which cycle to use? Forget guessing. Use this simple guide. Cotton, heavy duty, for towels, jeans, sturdy cottons, bedding, permanent press, for wrinkle-resistant shirts, polyester blends, casual clothes, delicates, for lingerie, silk, lace, rayon, lightweight knits, hand wash, for wool sweaters, cashmere, heirloom linens, quick wash, only for lightly worn items, like a shirt worn for 2 hours, never for dirty or sweaty clothes. And here's a critical tip most seniors miss. Always check the care label, not just for symbols, but for the words. If it says machine wash, cold, gentle cycle, that's an instruction, not a suggestion. But even if you pick the right cycle, there's another setting that's silently damaging your machine. It's the spin speed. Many people think faster spin equals drier clothes equals less time in the dryer. True, but too fast on the wrong load can crack your drum, break your suspension, or even cause the machine to shut down mid-cycle. For delicates, always choose the lowest spin speed, usually 400 to 600 RPM. For towels and jeans, high spin 1000 to 1200 RPM is fine. If your machine doesn't show RPMs, look for low delegates or no spin medium, permanent press high, cotton or heavy duty. This isn't just about clothes, it's about protecting your $800 machine from unnecessary stress. Now, if you've been using normal for everything, don't panic. Your clothes aren't ruined yet. But starting today, match the cycle to the fabricant, you'll be amazed how much longer everything lasts. But even with the perfect cycle, there's one more mistake that's causing your washer to leak water on the floor, and it's not the machine's fault. It's something you're doing after the wash is done. That's mistake number 9. And it's so simple, you'll wonder why no one ever told you. Mistake number 9. Pulling the power cord instead of using the off button. You finish your laundry, you take out your clothes. Then, to save electricity, you unplug the machine or flip the wall switch off. Or maybe you just leave it on, but you never press off on the control panel. Both are bad habits. Here's why. Modern washers have electronic control boards that need to shut down properly, just like your computer. When you yank the plug or cut power suddenly, you interrupt the machine's final self-check. This can corrupt the software because error codes on the next startup. Prevent the door lock from releasing, fully drain the backup battery that keeps your settings. Worse. Many machines use that final 30 seconds of off time to run a drain pump cycle to remove leftover water from hidden hoses. If you cut power early, that water sits in the hoses and becomes a breeding ground for mold. I've seen washers leak not because of a broken part, but because the user kept unplugging it, and stagnant water eventually seeped out through seals. So what should you do? Always press the power or off button on the control panel after your load is done. Wait 10 seconds for the display to go dark and the internal systems to shut down. Then if you want to unplug it for safety, for example, during storms, go ahead. But for daily use, just leave it plugged in and powered off. It uses less than 1 watt in standby, about 10 cents per year in electricity. And never ever pull the cord out by yanking it from the wall. Always grip the plug firmly. Tugging the cord damages the wiring inside. This tiny habit protects your machine's brain, the control board, which costs $250 for $100 to replace. But even if you do everything right, there's one final mistake that could void your warranty or cause a fire. It's about where you place your washer and what's around it. That's mistake number 10. And if your laundry room looks like most seniors, you're probably at risk. Mistake number 10. Placing your washer too close to the wall or on an unstable surface. You've got your laundry room set up just how you like it. The washer is snug against the back wall, saves space, looks tidy, keeps the hoses out of sight. Maybe you even put a little rug or mat underneath to catch spills. It all seems perfectly normal. But this setup, common in 9 out of 10 senior homes, is creating a hidden danger that could lead to leaks, floods, or even a fire. Let me explain. When a washer spins at high speed, especially during the final spin cycle, it vibrates. That's normal. But if the machine is pressed against the wall, those vibrations rub the hoses against sharp edges or pipes, kink the drain hose, slowing drainage, push the machine forward over time. Straining electrical cords. I've seen rubber hoses wear through in just 18 months because they were pinched between the washer and a copper pipe. One day flood and that mat or rug underneath. It traps moisture. If a small leak occurs, even a drip from the filter, the water soaks into the mat, and you won't notice it for weeks. By then, the floor is rotten, mold is growing under the tile, and your subfloor needs $2,000 in repairs. So here's the safe, professional setup. Leave at least 4 to 6 inches of space between the back of the washer and the wall. This gives hoses room to move without kinking. It allows air to circulate, preventing rust and mold on metal parts. Never place your washer on carpet, rugs, or foam pads. Use a solid, level, non-porous surface like tile, concrete, or vinyl. If your floor is uneven, use adjustable leveling legs built into most washers to stabilize it. Test stability. Push down hard on one corner. If it wobbles, adjust the legs until it doesn't. Inspect hoses every 6 months. Replace rubber hoses with stainless steel braided hoses. They last 5x longer and won't burst. Look for cracks, bulges, or soft spots. Install a leak detection pan, optional, but smart. It's a shallow plastic tray that slides under the washer with a drain hose leading to a floor drain or sump pump. Costs $25. Could save you $5,000 in water damage. This isn't just about preventing messes. It's about safety. Washers draw a lot of power during spin cycles. If the machine vibrates against an electrical outlet or frayed cord, it can spark. And with trapped moisture from a rug, that's a recipe for a short circuit. The National Fire Protection Association reports over 1,500 home fires per year linked to washing machines, most caused by mechanical stress, overheating, or water near electrical components. You don't need to remodel your laundry room. Just pull the washing machine forward 6 inches. Remove the mat, check the hoses, that's it. Your washer can last 15 years if you stop these 10 mistakes. Let's be honest, laundry shouldn't be stressful. At your age, you've earned the right to simple, reliable routines. But for too long, you've been set up to fail. The manuals are confusing. The online advice is full of myths like vinegar killing mold, and nobody ever told you that closing the door or using too much soap could ruin your machine. But now, you know. You know to leave the door open, you know to use half the detergent, you know to clean the filter, use bleach correctly, load properly, choose the right cycle, and let the machine power down safely. And most importantly, you know that your washer isn't broken. It just needed someone to speak plainly, with respect and care. If you follow these 10 fixes, even Just the first 3 you will eliminate bad smells for good, stop leaks before they start, extend your washer's life by 5 to 10 years, save hundreds on repairs and replacements, keep your clothes looking and smelling fresh. This isn't just about laundry, it's about peace of mind. So do this for me. Pick one mistake you've been making. Maybe it's leaving the door closed, or using too much soap, and fix it today. Then come back and watch this video again next month, because by then you'll notice the difference. Your laundry will smell clean, your machine will run quieter, and you'll feel proud that you took control. If this video helped you, please hit like. It tells YouTube to show this to other seniors who need it. And subscribe, because I'll keep giving you honest, no-nonsense fixes that actually work. You've got this and I've got your back. This is the Washer Doctor, signing off with clean clothes and peace of mind.